Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside while I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. Today I'm going to be working on my diamond painting shop. This is called A Colorful Soul Dancing Through Life, and I'm excited to get started on this one. It is only 50 by 50, so I'm hoping it won't take me very long. This will be my third actual WIP that I'm actually placing drills on, which is unusual for me, but that's what I'm going to be doing. So let me get everything kind of moved around here so I can zoom into where I'm going to be working, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, so let me get started here. I've got my timer going. I've got my notes all ready to go. I'm going to start putting my first drills down here. I am going to start with my life update as usual. What's going on in my life? Well, let's see. I told you guys last time that my son had ordered some Allbirds and they fell apart after just a couple of wears. So we contacted the company, and I didn't ask for anything. I just, wanted them to be aware that we were super disappointed in the performance of the shoes. Because like I said, we've purchased them before and he really, really liked them. They wore really well, his previous pairs. He had 2 pair that we'd purchased previously, and they've lasted for years, literally. So it was really annoying to spend that much money and have them fall apart. Anyway, they ended up sending us new ones. I don't think he's actually worn the new ones yet because he was kind of really frustrated with the whole situation. So I don't think that he has actually worn them yet. But we got, it's not a free pair of shoes. We got a replacement pair of shoes. So we'll see how that goes. I'm still, I told my husband, what if they fall apart? We're still out the money. They're not going to send us a 3rd pair. So we'll see. Anyway, some exciting things. I got an email, or maybe I saw it on social media. I don't know. Somehow I saw that Cirque du Soleil was going to be coming to the town near us. I love Cirque du Soleil. I've seen 4 or 5 of their shows now live. The very first one that I saw, we were actually in Las Vegas, and it was so good. It was one that had a pool, so they were diving in and out of the pool. I don't remember the name of that one, but it was really cool. So I've seen a couple more since then. Anyway, my daughter bought us tickets for our anniversary. I don't think it was last year, so maybe it was 2 years ago. Bought us tickets to their Cristal show, and we went and saw that one. It was really good. I saw there was going to be, this one is called Corteo, I think is the name of it. Anyway, it's going to be in town during the month of our anniversary. So I called my husband and I said, "Oh, this is our anniversary gift." So I'm getting tickets to the show. He's getting a hotel stay. We're going to stay in a hotel overnight, and then we're going to go try a couple of restaurants while we're in town hubby is a big foodie. He loves going to different restaurants and trying out different dishes and stuff. And he's got his eye on this one particular one. There's one that's a diner, but it's only open in the mornings, and we're never in the big city when it's that early in the morning. So we're going to try and go to that one. We actually found out we can have it delivered to our hotel, so we're going to do that. And then our hotel is going to be close enough that we can walk to the venue where the show is, so we don't have to worry about parking and all that nonsense. So that's our anniversary gift to ourselves. We're going to go to the Cirque du Soleil show, stay in a hotel overnight, and then go try out a couple of restaurants. One of the restaurants he wants to try is one that serves poutine, so he's super excited to go see what that's like. I personally do not like poutine. I don't like brown gravy. That'll be interesting when we move to Canada. I don't like brown gravy. Apparently no one really makes cream gravy in Canada. I guess if I have a biscuits and gravy craving, I'll have to make it myself. But also, I really like tea. I drink a lot of tea. None of the tea up there that I can find doesn't have lemon in it. Everything has lemon. whether it's already pre-made in bottles, whether it's, you know, tea in baggies, that kind of stuff. Almost all of them, because I drink decaf, almost all the decaf ones also have lemon in them. So I never did find a good black one. I actually, even here, order mine off of Amazon. I like the Yorkshire black tea. I get the decaf one. I feel like I haven't started my morning off right if I don't have my tea, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna go to the show. That'll be fun. Although buying the tickets was not fun. So I go to select a seat because that's the only place you can go to buy the tickets, and you know, pick out the tickets we want. I hope I got good ones because the stage, you know, it's got the seats all around it in a circle. The ends are blocked off, but I guess the stage is they're gonna have stuff on front and back, so I hope I pick the good side. Because, you know, they'll have two different acts going on at the same time. Like when we went to see Cristal, it was ice. They were skating on ice. They had other things too, but so basically everyone was kind of sitting at, like the stage was at the back and then everyone was kind of semicircled around it. This one, it's going to have front and back, but the front, what I thought would be the good front section was reserved for like club suites, and the tickets were way more than we could afford, more than I wanted to pay anyway. So I got the opposite side in the middle. So hopefully we have good seats. Anyway, so I pick out the seats that we want. It's just my husband and I get 2 seats together, and I go to pay for them. And it's like, well, do you want to do will call? And I was like, no, I want the tickets mailed to me. Okay, so it's $5 to have them mail me the tickets because first class stamps cost $5. Now, I get someone has to actually put them in an envelope and mail them, but it's not $5. That's ridiculous. Then there was an $8 venue fee. And I was like, why is that not included in the price of the ticket? Like, they can't have the event without a venue. So why isn't that just rolled in the price of the ticket? And then there's a $39 convenience fee added in. And I looked all over and could find zero explanation of what this convenience fee is, how they figure it, because it wasn't like an even dollar amount, like the $8 and the $5. It was like $38.16 or something. So obviously it's a percentage of something. It didn't say it was taxes or anything like that. It just said convenience fee. And I'm like, what the heck? And I told my husband, I just finally decided it's called that because it's a convenient way for them to take extra money out of my pocket. Like, I really hate that. If there's going to be shipping and stuff, no matter what I buy, like when I'm buying on Etsy and online and all that kind of stuff too, if there's going to be shipping, just tell me there's going to be shipping. Like, I understand that things have to get shipped and that costs money. I don't understand this trying to hide all of these, you know, prices and stuff. Like a $39 convenience fee. Okay, I bought 2 tickets. So split that between the 2 tickets and just make that the cost of the tickets. Plus $4, and add all that together for the price of the ticket instead of charging me an $8 venue fee and a $39 convenience fee. Because then I would know that my tickets were going to be, say, $100 instead of the $75 that you're advertising. So frustrating. And of course, you know, you have no option. If you want the tickets, then you're going to pay it. Yeah, just annoying. I also saw that the Broadway traveling show of 6 is coming to the town near us, and I would really like to go see it. It's a musical about Henry VIII's 6 wives, which has long been a fascinating subject to me. And so I went to go see where it was going to be and how much tickets were. You guys, maybe if you live in a big city, this isn't a shock, but you know, I live rurally. They want $120 a ticket for a matinee show. Like, I wouldn't even pay that for an evening show. Now, granted, these were seats down in the front, in the, you know, not in the front row or anything, but like in the orchestra section, not in the balcony section. So I get that they were going to be a little bit more expensive. And I love music theater, but $120 a ticket, that's $250 plus, because we have to drive into the town, You know, if we decided to stay the night, we wouldn't have to, but if we decided to stay the night, there's hotel on top of that plus food. And I told my husband, that's just, I mean, that's almost twice the price of our tickets to Cirque du Soleil, which is insane. So has anybody seen it? Is it good? Like, is it worth $120? I mean, I get that it's a traveling Broadway show. So the performances, you know, the performers and everything should be good quality, but I just feel like that's a lot. I mean, we used to have season tickets years and years ago to the summer musicals. And so you got tickets to, there were 5 shows a season, I think. So every summer, like every 2 weeks, there would be a show. And like I said, I love musicals. My grandmother actually got us started on that. We used to go to my grandmother's every weekend. And she was looking, as we got older, for something for us to do. So she would take us to the Sunday matinees. Because back then you could get balcony seats for pretty cheap. And she would take us to all of the musicals. And I really loved them. But I think Oliver was one of the first ones we saw. Saw Kismet, Pirates of Penzance, just a ton of them. And then, you know, as I got older and had a family of my own, that was where kind of our like date night kind of thing. We would go to the show. My mom would watch the kids and we would go to the Saturday evening show and have some grown-up time and get to, you know, go out to eat and go to a musical and seen Chicago and gosh, I'm trying to think what else. Sound of Music. And there was always invariably like one show that we would miss each summer because we were traveling or we just decided we weren't going to go or whatever and we give our tickets to somebody else. But yeah, it looks really good. I can't, you know, I told my husband I was trying to find like little bits and blurbs. He found a couple of videos for me, but it's like people taking videos in the theater, which you're not supposed to do. So they're not great quality and it's hard to tell. I guess I could just go get see if it's on like my Apple Music or something and listen to some of the songs and see, but still, $120. I told my husband. Plus it's going to be right after he gets back from his trip to Canada. Like literally, I think he comes back on like a Wednesday and the show is that, well, actually he comes back on Wednesday. The show starts on Tuesday and runs through Sunday. Maybe I'll just go look at balcony tickets. I really want to sit in the orchestra though. I like being close because I'm blind. So I like to sit close so I can see. Anyway, has anybody seen it? Was it good? Should I spend the money? I mean, it's not, the amount itself isn't the issue. We have it to spend if we want to go. It's just me going, is it going to be worth it? Because if I spend that much money and it's not good, I'm going to be super disappointed. Also, I should look and see. I mean, summer musicals are over now that it's September, but I wonder what season tickets cost these days. Hubby and I had talked about doing it again a couple years ago, and we just never got around to it. That would be fun, though. It'd be fun to do that. He's all excited. He's back to watching football, and he's super duper excited now because he's been watching CFL football for a couple of weeks, but now the NFL has started up, so he's become quite the Chiefs fan since he moved here. He's finally given up on the Patriots, and now he's pretty much a Chiefs fan. He'll root for the Patriots, but he pays me way more attention to the Chiefs now that he lives here. My parents were super big fans. They had season tickets for many years, and they would go up there. My mom would be all bundled up in a blanket and those heaters in her socks and in her gloves. We actually went out and bought like battery operated heated sweatshirts and things, heated socks. My mom had some health issues and she was always cold. She and my dad would bundle up and they would go sit in their seats and cheer them on in person. I'm like, I'll sit in the comfort of my home and watch it because I bet I can see more of what's going on from the television than you can sitting up in the stands. They really enjoyed it though. And even though my mom was cold and uncomfortable, she always went with my dad. I'd rather sit and diamond paint while my husband watches it at home. I think that's a much better solution for me. All right, what else is going on? My youngest is still struggling through his math class. He came up the other day and he's like, Mom, this is so petty. And I was like, what? So these quizzes that the instructor is giving them, the one question quizzes, are 10 points each. And he's like, I feel like one week he feels like he completely understands everything and he does great. And then the next week he's completely confused again and doesn't understand what he's doing. And I've told him, I said, if we need to get you a tutor or if we need to sign up, I know there's like apps and programs and things that you can get that, help you explain to you, help like walk you through problems and things. I just shake my head half the time when he tells me what kind of stuff goes on in this class because this instructor just frustrates me. Like, I seriously kind of wish he was still in high school and I could go talk to the teacher because some of the stuff he does, I'm just like, what are you doing? So his last quiz, again, one question, they were supposed to apply some theorem and then use it to solve the problem. Okay. So he gets it back and he got a 9.9 out of 10. And I said, okay. And he goes, do you know why I missed the 0.1? And I said, so I'm looking at, because he's showing me the problem. I don't understand what he's doing, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, is it, I'm expecting it's going to be something stupid like he spelled his name wrong or he didn't name the file that he sends to the professor the right way or something. No, he, at the bottom of it where he had solved the problem, which he solved correctly, I might add, the professor wanted them to write, therefore, by the principles of this theorem, whatever, the answer is blah, blah, blah. Now, professor didn't tell them they were supposed to write that on there or whatever. So we took off 0.1 of it, a point. And I told my son, I said, I agree with you. What is the point of that? Like, it's like this guy is looking for ways to punish the kids. And again, I just, and I told my husband, I told my son, I said, just pass. It's a class you have to have. I understand this guy's a jerk. There's nothing you can do about it. At this point, it's a class he's got to have before he can go on to other classes. This was the only section of that class he could get in. And you're just, I said, you're going to have to make the best of it. Yes, I agree. He's being completely petty. I agree that this is ridiculous. But again, this kind of stuff just makes me nuts. He solved the question right. That's the point. Right? It's not to grade him on his penmanship or, something like that. So he's taking off points for something that really has nothing to do with what he asked the kids to do. I guess, yeah, I'm just frustrated with the whole thing. I told my son, that's what it feels like to me. Like he's purposely looking for things that he can justify taking off points for whatever reason. So, yeah, that's what I told my youngest. Just pass. You're going to have to put up with people that are jerks sometimes, either that you work with, that you're in school with, that are your professors or whatever. But, yeah, so frustrating. And I'm not even the one taking the class, and I'm frustrated. Although I'm frustrated with myself. Guys, I'm still doing my Rosetta Stone French, and I thought I was doing really good. And then out of the blue, it's like basically here trying to have a conversation and it shows you all like these pictures and then the person in the picture will, it'll have a question and then you're supposed to respond. And halfway through I was like, okay, I don't think I have a grasp on any of this. So now I'm wondering if maybe I do need to go back and like actually take a class in it. Just if for no other reason than I remember things better if I have to write them down. And so just listening and doing it is not helpful to me. Although, I don't know, maybe I need to go do all the lessons again and focus on just listening rather than trying to read. Because it puts the words up on screen and everything. So I like try and look and see. But I get confused because so many of the words, you don't pronounce half the letters in them. Maybe I just need to follow my original plan of just listening to some French people talking. I was actually, there's that Diamond Set Strauss she's a diamond painter from well, I guess I would just assume she's from France. She speaks French. Maybe she's in France. I don't know. She speaks French. I don't know where she's from. Anyway, I was like, well, maybe I could, listen to that, because then I would understand some of what's going on, because I understand what she's doing. I don't think I have a big enough vocabulary yet to listen to some broadcast stuff, because I don't understand what they're saying, because I don't understand half the words. I just don't have big enough vocabulary yet. I think that's the thing for me. So I'm gonna keep doing my Rosetta Stone lessons, but yeah. It has had a couple of sections where it'll give you like a paragraph, and then the software will read it to you, and then you're supposed to practice reading it back. I don't always practice reading it back, because again, my goal is to understand it, not necessarily speak it. But I was able to at least follow along with most of it and sort of understand what it was actually saying, because like they don't give you a translation of the paragraph. They just read it, and then like if it's words they haven't introduced to you yet, they'll have a link for those, and it'll show you a picture of what the word is. It was like one was about a farm, and they used the word for cow, which I can't remember. It starts with a V, I think, but I can't remember it. Anyway, when you hovered over it, it would bring up a picture of a cow, so you knew that's what they were talking about. Yeah, I was a little stoked that at least, even if I couldn't understand it quickly while they were speaking it, when I was reading through the paragraph while it was speaking, I got most of the point of it. I mean, I didn't understand everything in it, obviously, but some of the grammar still trips me up. And some of it, I assume it's like German, where German has, you use the capital Z, S-I-E, when you're talking to people you don't know, and then there's a less formal version of it when you're talking to people that you do know well. I'm assuming that's the difference between why sometimes it's vous and sometimes it's tu, but it doesn't explain that. So yeah, I just guess on a lot of stuff. Although I found it funny when I was supposed to be doing that whole speaking the conversation thing. I think there was one time where I was like, I have absolutely no idea what they're expecting as a response here. And it came up, and I think I said, I have no idea. And it, took that as my input. And it said I got whatever it was correct, which was not even anywhere close to what I was supposed to have said, but I just thought it was funny. So hopefully there'll be more practice like that. And some of my relatives up in Canada speak French. My husband's sister worked for the government, so she had to be able to speak French, and his oldest son speaks French. I don't think the other kids do. So I have, some people that I could converse with. Maybe I should set that up, converse with his sister like via Zoom or something, and ask her questions. Because somebody also mentioned that the French in the Maritimes is different than the French in Quebec, or Quebec, sorry. I think somebody else told me, or maybe it was my husband, told me that, yeah, that's different than the French they speak anywhere else. So, I mean, I guess it's like America. We all speak English, but it's, the English I speak here is different than what they speak like down in Texas versus what they speak like in New England versus, whatever, California. Okay, still got to finish up this little section here, but I think that's all for my life update. Oh, we did get to go for our walks this week, and hopefully we'll get to go next week, or this coming week, because it's supposed to be cool. It's supposed to be in like, I want to say the low 70s most of the week this week. I don't know if we're supposed to get any rain, but I'll be glad for it not to be 100 degrees plus, and so will my poor husband. He's been working outside. He's got just a couple more weeks of having his 4-day work week, and then they're going to be back to 5/10s on the new job that they're starting, so he's kind of bummed about that. He was enjoying his 4-day work weeks, and I said, yeah, I get it, but it's nice to have that extra day of work, because that's an extra bit of money in your paycheck. So you guys, I can't worry about my diamonds being perfectly placed. I mean, I try to get them as good as I can, placed as well as I can. They're just never going to be perfect. I could use rulers. I have rulers. Although I will say the one square diamond ruler that I have does not really work with any of the canvases. The size is off. And I've never found anybody that has a different size than the one that I have. You can buy different size of round rulers, but I haven't found different sizes of square ones. Anyway, that was an aside. What was I talking about? I don't know now. French. Oh, walking. Yeah, so we walked a couple of days last week. We missed one day because of a misunderstanding. My son was complaining because it was going to be super hot. And I said, well, then we don't have to go. And he says, okay. So I didn't get up and get ready when my alarm went off the next morning. I just kind of laid in bed and read for a little bit. And when I came out of the bathroom, he's standing there waiting for me. And I said, what are you doing? And he's, well, aren't we walking today? And I said, you said it was going to be too hot. No, I didn't. It was going to be too hot. And so I was like, well, we're not walking because I'm not ready. So I guess we're skipping a day. So he went down and walked on the treadmill. He was fine. But I did the elliptical this morning. I just prefer actually going out and walking, which is kind of weird because normally I would prefer staying inside because it's cooler. There's no bugs. I can set up a fan. You know, I have it set up so that if I'm on the elliptical or if I'm on the treadmill, I can put my iPad on it. I can listen to music. I can read. I can play some of my iPad games. I can do, you know, various things while I'm walking, whatever. But I have found myself really wanting to walk outside. I feel like we walk further and I feel like I walk faster. I mean, maybe that's because I'm walking with my son. He's taller than me. His legs are longer than me, so I have to walk faster to keep up with him. He slows down because he knows I don't limp like I used to, but my plantar fasciitis is just killing me lately. I've tried to do some stretches. I found some stuff on how to tape up my foot. I've ordered some shoes. I ordered some shoes that I thought were going to be like have good arch support, and they really don't. And then I was like looking online for some new ones, and I found these ones that I thought would be good, and they were like, oh, arch support. So I get in there and I'm looking at them, and it says right in there, oh, you know, if you have high arches or you need, you know, really firm arch support, these probably aren't for you. Well, then why'd you put arch support in the description of these shoes? Because they didn't really have any whatsoever. I mean, they were basically just flat on the inside, and so frustrating. Maybe I just need to buy some like arch support insoles, but I hate doing that too because a few times that I've bought insoles and tried to use them, like I have small feet, so I have to cut them way down to get them to fit in my shoe in the first place, and then I feel like all they do is slide around. I don't know if I cut them wrong or whatever, but that's why you have to be careful when you tape your feet as well, because you don't want to get wrinkles on the bottom of it, because that's so irritating when you're walking. I think I could probably get away with it because I would just have the tape on while we were walking, and then once we get home, you know, because we go walking first thing in the morning, so we usually get up, go walk, and then after we get all gross and sweaty, we'll come home and I'll take our showers. So I think that's it for my life update. So let's talk diamond painting stuff. I am still working on the Halloween family. That was the sneak peek yesterday. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's really a cute kit, and I was surprised at how quickly actually that it's gone, even for a square. There is definitely some confetti in it, but there's also some nice multi-placing, so it's been kind of a nice mix of both, which I'm hoping this one will be that way as well. And I finally have gotten into the little pumpkins. I've got one jack-o'-lantern completely finished, and I think there's 7 in the picture. As I'm working on it, I'll be sharing it on social media. So if you're following me on Instagram, you'll see pictures of it there. If you're in the Facebook group, which you can join, you can check it out there. I post on my Facebook page, but not as much as I post in the group. So the group is where it's at. Speaking of that, I have had people saying that they have issues joining. It's because there is, if you're like a brand new profile, less than 30 days old, the group will not let you join. I'm sure I could probably get around that by specifically inviting the person. I haven't discovered how to do that. So if you're a Facebook guru and you have any helpful suggestions, let me know. That rule is there to keep spammers out because, my gosh, you guys, the number of people that I have had to decline or boot because they're posting scammy stuff is redonkulous. they're just everywhere. I saw on Instagram today, somebody on Instagram was saying that they were the FBI. We're helping people who've been scammed. So if you've been scammed, contact us. Except it was written in incorrect English. And like, seriously, like that's what, just, yeah. I told my husband, stuff like that makes me so angry, especially like stuff that's targeted towards older people. We get, gosh, at least probably once a month, if not more often in the mail, we get a thing that says, oh, our car, extended warranty on our car is about to expire, and contact them so we can get it renewed and blah, blah, blah. Well, and then down at the very bottom in super teeny tiny, like 3-point font, it will say, you know, this is an advertisement for warranty coverage, which, you know, whenever I get it, I just look at it and trash it because we don't have extended warranties on our cars. So I know it's a scam. But, you know, how many people, especially older people, open it up and think, oh no, you know, and go ahead and pay, not realizing that they don't need it or whatever. Yeah, stuff like that is frustrating. Anyway, I got sidetracked again. Okay, so I was working on the Halloween family one. I'm still working on that. I'm working on this one, the Mary's Diamond one, which was the old Mary's Diamonds before Bella Art bought them. I'm going to be kitting up the Mooney Maid soon so I can start working on that. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm going to need to figure out how to store them. I mean, I have hangers that I can clip them on, so that's fine. But I need, like, my closet in my office / craft room is taken up with storage. Like, I literally have like cube storage. We took out the tall, long rod. We took out both of the short rods because I have shelving pieces stuck in there. And I'm using them for, you know, paper and diamond painting stuff and all kinds of things. But I need to figure out a better storage for WIPs. I think what I might do is get like an over the door hanger, because I hang a lot of them on the closet door already, and just get one of those hangers that like lets you hang more than one thing. It's one of those QVC things like Joy Mangano used to sell. God, I just dated myself probably. Anyway, you know, you put it on, it has the 2 hooks, and then you hang everything, and then you take the other hook down and it'll all lay down flat, so it takes up less space in your closet. I was thinking if I got something like that for over the closet door where I hang them anyway, that way I don't have to worry about the hangers kind of getting tangled together and everything like they do now. I could just hang them downstairs. I have an empty closet down there, but I told my husband if I do that, then what's going to happen is instead of me kind of working on everything all at once, it's going to end up being, well, I'm just going to do this one thing, and then once I get done with it, I'll move on to the next one. Which in the ultimate scheme of things probably doesn't matter, because it's just me and the same. I mean, how much time I have to spend diamond painting is the same, whether I'm working on 1 kit or 5. But I just feel like if I put it downstairs, it's going to be too easy for me to forget about it. Plus, I really want to reorganize my office. One, I want to go through it. One of the things in here is our cedar chest, and I have a bunch of stuff in there that's kind of like sentimental stuff. But knowing that we have our move, you know, coming up to Canada, I want to go through it because I know there's stuff in there that I don't really need to hang on to. Anyway, I've got some scrapbooks. I've got like some things that people gave me as gifts that I've got in there that really should be somewhere else. I've got some family things that I'm not going to take with me to Canada. So I want to see if anybody else in the family wants them, or if they're just going to leave it up to me to figure out what to do with them. But I really want to go through that. And then once I go through that and hopefully have room to store some of the stuff that's in my office that can go inside the cedar chest, that would open up some room in the closet and some other places. Because the other thing is, I need to have a space to put stuff for the business when I finally get around to opening it. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, before I talk about that, because I have lots of things to say, you guys, I got my 6 placers from DAC, and I gotta say, I don't love them. The 3 placer was okay. I thought I would like the 6 placer. Now, I will say, it does pick up drills, sort of. And I am a huge fan of having the really thin walls, which this does. So I'm cool with that. But it's a 6-placer. You can pick up 7 drills. Look, it picks them up real nice and neat. But when I was working on my Halloween one, half the time I would, like here, I pick up 7 and it drops 2 of them. And I can't figure out if it's the drill or the tip, if it's like, I feel like I don't have enough putty in there, but because the edges are so sharp, that's as much putty as I can get in there. If I put any more in, then it spills out over the sides and just makes a big mess. Yeah, I mean, it's an okay tip. I don't want to say that it doesn't work. It does, but I'm not in love with it the way that I was hoping I would be. So also, I find it super annoying that it doesn't fit in anything. Like the only way I got it to fit in this pen was to put tape around it and then kind of, rotate, force it in there, which is super annoying because all the other places that make pins and tips, it's kind of a standard size. So why theirs doesn't fit is, I don't understand. Unless they're trying to make you buy their specific pen, which I'm not interested in because their pens are kind of boring. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I was excited because I was like, oh, I'm going to use my Halloween pen on my Halloween kit. I'll put my Diamond Art Club kit or my Diamond Art Club 6-placer in it and it won't stay. Like it just falls right out. So yeah, just not a huge fan. I mean, I'll keep the one and I'll keep working with it, but it's definitely not my favorite. Oh, look at that. There's a purple one that snuck in there. How funny. Definitely not my favorite. And I bought 2. So I think what I'm going to do with the second one, because I didn't even take it out of the box, I think I'm just going to put it in my prize package for DP for Pets. No, DP for Vets. Gosh, you guys, I'm going to have to change the name of it because I do that all the time. Yeah, leave me a comment below if you have a better suggestion for DP for Vets. I'm going to keep it as DP for Vets this year, but maybe next year I'll call it something else because I know it confuses people who think it's veterinarians instead of veterans. So if I could come up with a better name. So also don't forget that that is coming up in November and I'm super excited because I have sponsors, you guys. I have 3 sponsors for sure. Wait, is that right? 1, 2, 3. 3 or 4. I'll have to go check my notes. 3 or 4. And I've got a couple more that I'm still waiting to hear from. I contacted one that I thought would be pretty stoked and they haven't responded. And it's been a week and I sent the email through their website. So I think I'm going to go like contact them via social media instead and do it that way because I think maybe I just got lost in my email, got lost in the shuffle somewhere. So yeah, I'm going to have sponsors. So those will be coming up. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can see who's going to be sponsoring stuff that is going to be added to the prize package. So I'm excited that's coming up. It's still a couple of months away, but time's flying. So I'm giving myself September to kind of get sponsors lined up, and then once I hit October, I will start announcing who all the sponsors are and what they're providing for the prize package. You guys, one of the reasons I want to clean out my office or reorganize it is because my oldest and I have really been working on opening this business together. So we trying to come up with a name. Oh my gosh, you guys, just trying to come up with a name, first of all, that you think fits, and then finding one that isn't already taken. We've had 5 or 6 ideas already that we thought were like, oh, this will be perfect, and somebody else already has the domain. So we've been doing that. She's been working really hard. She, I think I've mentioned before, is an artist, so she's been doing some of the art that I'm going to be using for cover sheets and things for the release papers and stuff. So she's kind of like the artistic portion and I'm like the business portion, which is kind of scary because that is so not me usually. So she's been working on cover papers, artwork for it. I'm working on, business stuff, boring stuff like figuring out how much everything actually costs so we know what to price it at, all that kind of stuff. So I've been working on printing out different things. And so frustrated this week because what I was trying to do was print paper without borders. That sounds simple, right? So like when you want to print a photo at home and you print it on like 4x6 paper, you want it to take up the whole 4x6 piece of paper, right? You don't want it to leave a little edge around it. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out how to make my printer do that. I have watched so many tutorials. I have read through so many manuals. Now, my printer is a Canon, and when I went to the Canon website, their explanation of how to do it is from like 1994. It's got like square windows, Microsoft Windows, and dialog boxes and stuff, which is in no way relevant to 2023. Add into that the fact that I'm on a Mac and not on a Windows computer. So I've done all kinds of searches for Mac. So I have on my Mac gone and made the default in my settings, borderless 8.5x11 printing. All my print previews, whether I'm using Microsoft Word, whether I'm using a drawing program, whether I'm using my Silhouette, I tell it to print borderless. And when I do the print preview, it shows my print without the, 1/4 inch white border all the way around. But when I actually print it, even if I tell my printer it is a photo, and to print it, from the rear tray, because that's where it makes you print photos, and to print it as if it's printing on photo paper, and I know that it's doing it because I can tell the difference in the print quality, it still prints the borders. And I finally just decided I'm going to give up. For most of this week, have spent time, watching, like I said, YouTube videos, researching, printer manuals. Just, I can't figure out how to make it work. If there's a way, I haven't found it. And the whole reason I wanted to do that, 2 reasons. One, because if I could get it to print edge to edge, kind of, to the bleed edge, the actual edge of the paper, then I don't have to cut off those 4 sides. And also, then I don't have to waste that 1/4 inch on each side, which essentially means I lose a 1/2 inch of paper. So if it's an 8.5x11 sheet of paper, if I lose a 1/2 inch for the top and bottom, and this is with my margin set to 0, I've done all that, then I've only got, instead of 11 inches, I've only got 10.5, which means my papers can only be 5.25 inches. So it means I get less, I waste more paper, and my sizes are smaller, which I'm fine with. Like me cutting them to this size, yes, it's a little smaller than like the standard release papers that you would buy, just the plain blank white ones. But I'm fine with them being, a little bit smaller. That's okay with me. But I was curious, like those of you who've been using, release papers, especially the printed ones, do you get them in a larger size? Because I can print them basically up to the 8.5x11 minus that little border. I'm just curious what size people prefer. Like, do most people use them smaller? Because I know they're on smaller kits. I work on larger kits, so I like the big, roughly 4x5 size, or 4x6 if I'm using my blank ones. But if I'm doing a, smaller kit, like when I was doing my Advent series, I had basically cut the standard size in half so that I could have this right number of, because I was doing it for Advents, I had the right number of squares or whatever. Or, if you're doing like a square kit and you want your sections to be smaller than this, to cut it in half, what is everybody's preference? Like, please share. I'm always interested in how other people diamond paint. So would you use the, 4x5.25? Would you prefer something larger? Like, would you want a whole strip that went across the size of your painting or whatever? How do you normally work it? I'm just curious. Because I know there are a lot of people who don't even use release paper. There's a lot of people who do the washi tape method. More power to people for that. It's probably certainly a less expensive way because sectioning with washi, washi is probably going to be a lot less expensive than buying, custom cover papers or whatever. I'm so heavy-handed. I'm always so deathly afraid that I'm going to cut through my canvas. And what usually ends up happening is that I don't cut deep enough. And then my cover sheet tears, my washi tape doesn't get cut through. It just becomes a big pain for me. So I don't like doing it that way. Also, is anybody, now that the printed, cover sheets with the designs have started coming out and everybody's been using those, does anybody using like blank cover sheets? Because what I was doing was using my blank white ones, and then I had stickers that I would put on top of it. So, like if you were doing an ocean kit, you could get like little ocean stickers. Or if you were doing a mermaid kit, you could get little mermaid stickers, that sort of thing. Is anybody still doing that, or has that fallen away now that you can get the custom sheets? Inquiring minds. Yeah, so just leave me a comment below. Let me know how you do it. What's your preference? Because like I said, I'm always interested to hear how other people do it. Also, I'm curious, maybe I'll do a little picture comparison and share it on Instagram or something with this release paper that isn't very transparent, and then do another one on like the silicone paper that's super transparent, so you can still print on it and have the design, but then you can still kind of see your diamond painting behind it. I might do some like test photos and see which one I think looks better, like print the same design on the different kinds of paper and then see which ones I think work better for like taking photos and stuff. Because I love when people take photos on Instagram and then you can kind of see, where the diamonds are, and then you can see the rest of the design, but it's obviously not been diamond painted. I think those photos are cool. Not that I take a bunch of them myself. I probably should, but I don't. I'm really bad about taking photos. Usually when I'm working on the diamond painting, I'm so busy diamond painting and, concentrating on that I'm done before I was like, oh, I should take some photos. I think the last thing that I have to talk about today that's kind of diamond painting related is, you guys, I'm slowly working my way through the Random Acts of Kindness. I'm getting close to being completely caught up, which is super exciting. I just mailed another round a couple of days ago this week, but when I went to go check my P.O. box, there were 2 that had been returned to me. One was because the address was wrong. I'm not going to fault the post office for that, because there were notes on the package that obviously they had tried to figure out where it went and couldn't. So I don't know if somebody just entered the completely wrong number or what happened, but they tried. So that one came back. And then the other one, it was a post office box, and apparently by the time it got there, whoever it was had closed the post office box, so the box was no longer open, which is kind of sad, but I guess, I work through them as fast as I can. Who knows what happened to that person's life either. Maybe, their move was unexpected or something. So anyway, I'm, disappointed that those got returned, but I'm just going to take what was in there and send them out with the next batch. So it's not like anything's getting wasted. They survived the transportation process fairly intact. So yeah, if you've signed up for a Random Act of Kindness and haven't got it, don't panic. I'm still working my way through. But I am excited that I'm almost caught up. Like I'm only 2 months behind instead of 6. And I won't be sending them out in November, so I probably should try to get as caught up as I can this month and next month, because I won't be sending anything out in November because I'll be so busy with DP for vets. See, I almost did it again. So there was some nice multi-placing there. Again, my drills are not perfect. I'm okay with that. Like I said, I try to straighten them as much as I can. I'll go back in with my straightener, to fix any obvious lines, but I'm okay with them, not being perfectly straight, because by the time it's all finished, you won't be able to tell anyway, especially on these dark colors. They'll just fade into the background and you won't even notice. Let me zoom out here. See, I didn't get a ton done, but I made a nice start here. I think I made about as much of a start on this one as I did on my 02. So now I have that one, the Mary's Diamonds, the 02, this one, and my Halloween one, and they're all squares. I feel like I want to kit up the Mooney Maid one, but that one is also a square. I feel like I need to kit up a round one just so I can have a round one to go to, because those go so much faster, just to give my brain a bit of a break. I don't know why the round ones seem easier, but they do. In some ways they're harder because they don't actually fit together as snugly as the squares. So Also, I'm right here to this section, which this is by symbol going to be 550, but there are also 550 ABs. So I'm debating whether or not I'm going to put all ABs here. This is part of her shirt. So I might substitute the ABs in here because I'm going to have, I also have 550 ABs in my Oraloa, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have extra left of that, and I'm pretty sure I also have already some AB 550 spares in squares. This is what I'm working on. This is how far I got. You guys, this has been a bit of a ramble today, but it's all good. I'm working on multiple projects. I've got sponsors for my upcoming event. I'll put it on your calendars. It starts November 1st. I will be doing some videos in October to do kind of a lead up and introduce the people who are going to be sponsors. Huge thank you to those people who are sponsoring. Yeah, hopefully I'm going to get a couple more before the end of October. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.